so proud. To be prepared for this, I wish I was going last. That the national anthem is by far my favorite song. It always has been since I was a little kid, and it is extremely rare that someone sings it and makes me emotional. But that was a fantastic job. I don't know where you went, but thank you for doing that. That is a God-given gift, and thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you all for coming out here today. Last year at this time, we were kicked while we were down by evil. We hadn't had time to comprehend what had happened to us with the loss of Deputy Cordero. When we had to deal with losing Darnell. It was a rough time for our department. It was a rough time for this station. It was a disaster for his family. I want to thank the city of Lake Elsinore, the council, the business members of this community, the residents of this community, and what turned out to be really our country as a whole, with the overwhelming support of them reaching out to us and to Vanessa and her family as we were all trying to get through what had happened. As we're here today, I want to seriously thank from the bottom of my heart all of Darnell's family, both sides. You're all one family. I want to thank all of you for coming today and allowing us to share with you, to love on you, and honor you and Darnell and his service and what he did to not only this department, but what he did for this community. As Christians, we never, I take that back, as people, we sometimes question whether or not we should be Christians or whether or not it's real, because how could something like that be real when someone honestly as good and almost as perfect as you could be as a man, how could something like that happen to him if there was a God? And we have to realize and we have to understand that it wasn't God that did it. It was evil. And because we have a God, we also have an evil in the world that's trying to destroy it. I must say, I've never questioned my Christianity. I've never thought of anything else. But after having to go through losing Isaiah and then hold Vanessa, had it not been for the strength of Darnell's dad, his mom, Vanessa's mom, there's no way I would have made it through that night. I don't want this to be a memorial service. I don't think it should be. I think this is a service where we come to show our love and support for Darnell and honor him in what he stood for, what he represented as a law enforcement officer, as a deputy with the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. We owe it to him to honor his service, to honor his family, his wife, his kids. And that's how we should look at this. Well, everything is a first. There's a first of everything in this year, and this year has been a horrible year of firsts for Vanessa and her family. And I hope and I pray that everything from here on out gets a little bit easier. I want to promise her and your entire family that we will always be here for you. You will always be a part of our family, regardless of whether or not you wore that uniform that Darnell was wearing. He was our brother, which makes you our brothers and sisters. I seriously appreciate all of you coming today, and I've heard that several of you want to speak. I welcome all of you speaking. The Riverside County Sheriff's Office is dedicated to you and your families, and we will honor Darnell for the rest of our lives to ensure that his service and his life is remembered by the next generation of law enforcement officers. Again, thank you all for coming. Our police agents, our police partners from San Diego, I know that you lost the same brother that we did. I thank you for your support that you've given us. I hope we're doing the same for you. For the residents of the community that have come out to honor us today, to honor Darnell today, to grieve with us today, and to celebrate his life with us today, thank you for everything that you did for us, not just when Darnell was killed, but the entire year last year was a disaster for all of us. Thank you for your support for law enforcement. I hope you continue in that support for law enforcement. Continue in your prayers for Vanessa, her boys, and her family. Thank you all for coming today.
Oh. I don't know how many more opportunities I'm going to have to publicly honor my husband, so I'm going to make this one count. Has been honored for his active service and bravery. There's certainly much to be said about how he responded when it counted on the job. That moment, observed by the world, displayed Darnell's already established character. As his wife, I can tell you that he showed up in his everyday life the exact way he showed up in his final moments. He bravely and fiercely loved me and his boys. He fought for us when things got hard. He picked up our children when they fell. He held me close when I was down. He looked for answers and never wavered in his pursuit of safety for those around him. As Eric said, he pursued his friendships with loyalty and tenacity. He helped and befriended strangers, even if it wasn't ideal. To put it simply, Darnell served. He served Jesus. He served his family, his friends, and his community. I say this with all honor of my husband. It was all very, very ordinary. His service wasn't glamorous, and it often didn't feel impactful to him. But that's what it is. It's showing up in the big and small moments without expectation of recognition. And I was so privileged to watch Darnell do that with such humility. It's because of his service and through the power of the Spirit that we've been immensely blessed with a dedicated village. On behalf of our entire family, all of us, thank you. Thank you to everyone that has shown up in some form. Through visits, calls, texts, donations, cards, dinners, pop-ins at the restaurant, gifts dropped at the door, flowers sent every month, last-minute park meetups, after-dinner walks, yard projects, crafts for and with my kids. I could go on and on. Darnell inspired this. He showed up for others, and now those people show up for us even when it's uncomfortable. So thank you. Thank you for pushing through the discomfort and stepping into our trenches. Every time someone shows up, it's one less moment spent in despair, but instead in gratitude for the life we get to live through Darnell's love. I'm not sure if or when the sting of losing him will change, but I do know that he left us with a love to last a lifetime. I believe one day we will laugh again, the way we did with him. I'll carry on in the life that we dreamt up together. I will raise our boys with the values we shared, and I'll show up in our village the way Darnell did. Thank you again for taking the time to acknowledge my husband and honor him. I know that he could have never imagined his life being honored this way. Thank you. Be blessed.
That's great. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. I would like to invite up this time Darnell's patrol shift that was with him that day for the presentation of the wreaths.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fear